G'day guys, welcome back to StatChat Sports. You're here for the weekly AFL podcast. We've got a full set of four on for this week. Tazza, Steve, and brand new guest, Goody, getting the call up this week. BT back in the twos. Goody.
Very excited, looking forward to it.
Good to have you on board. You're a Brisbane fan, and Steve, that's where we're looking ahead to first this week. Our regular segment, hits, misses, and hold fire. Steve, it's got to be Brisbane for the hit. They were huge.
Yeah, it is. It is Brisbane this week. I mean, me personally, they've kind of been my hold fire throughout the season. I think so far, I've not gotten too carried away with them. Yes, they've won their games. Yeah, but I'm sure I've mentioned it before. But they've won their games, but they still, to me, haven't really come across anyone challenging. And in their first game that they did, Geelong, they lost. So yes, they're always a good team, and they're always going to be up and about there. But they hadn't quite been challenged enough yet. And the one time they did, they lost. So to go to the SCG and beat them the way they did, that's enough for me now. I've seen enough now. That was a good performance.
Goody, you're a Brisbane fan. The lid's off, right? Surely. They're there. They're doing it this year.
Yeah, I'm very confident. But as Steve said, I don't think they've been overly impressive in the first 6 rounds. I think this game on the weekend was probably their most impressive. They were challenged by Buddy very hard in that third quarter, and then they answered appropriately, and it was very good to watch, to be honest.
Yeah, no, Buddy was the man. What was it, 4 goals in 10 minutes? That little snap as well from the pocket.
4 goals in 10 minutes and a massive heart attack for me. That was good fun.
And I think Danaher going down when he did too, that would have caused a few heart problems there as well, because
hurts the structure for sure.
It's a bit of a test. I mean, no Hipwood, no Danaher. How did the forward line go, and it coped? I mean, albeit against a Sydney backline that was pretty undermanned, got to be honest, in terms of key positions, but still it held up and they got the dub.
The thing I like about the Lions as well this year is their spread of goal kickers is really good. So they've had 5 players kick 10 or more goals through the first 7 rounds. No other team has more than 3. So I think they've got a really good mix of not just the forwards getting it done, but Goody, the midfielders are kicking goals as well.
Yeah, it's good. And everyone can chop and change in the midfield. So right now, Rayner's getting back to full fitness, and he's looking pretty dangerous. He can run through there. Zach Bailey, he was pretty quiet this week, but he's been amazing. And then obviously you've got the old man Zorko still managing to get it done as well. So yeah, there's plenty to like around Brisbane. How is Zorko still in the park? Because I thought he tore his Achilles like 2 weeks ago. I don't understand what's going on there. He's just defying physics, the old man. Just getting the job done.
Tazza, so clearly I think Melbourne's the number 1 team in the comp right now. Do we think Brisbane is the clear number 2 after this performance? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think so. People would probably put Geelong up there, just given based on what they've done in previous seasons, and they're showing chinks in their armour, I think, especially losing to the Dockers at GMHBA Stadium. A lot of people had Sydney up there, and they've just gone there at their patch and done them. So I don't think there's too many arguments to not put Brisbane up the top right now, alongside Melbourne.
And Goody, for you as a Brisbane supporter, is it grand final this year? Are you locked in on it? You think, yes, from what I've seen so far, this is our year?
Yeah, well, if I spoke to any Fremantle supporters, it's Fremantle's year, but I think Brisbane have got to give it a real good shake this year. This has got to be the year to do it.
Yep, good call indeed. Obviously, BT not on the line today. His usual segment here is the miss, and he goes after a team that did not perform very well. The low-hanging fruit is the Eagles, right? But if you watched our podcast last week, we're done talking about the Eagles. Right, they're not worth talking about this year anymore. We know what we're going to expect. We can't do it to ourselves. So we've strayed away from the Eagles for the miss. This week, maybe a little bit harsh, but Adelaide. Adelaide is our miss, and I think after what we've seen in the last couple of weeks, Tazza, you'd have to say the performance against the Giants, really disappointing.
It's fully deserved. Adelaide were woeful. There was 60 points at halftime, I think it was. I don't care what situation you're in. I mean, Adelaide aren't exactly in the middle of an injury crisis. Yeah, they may not have the talent, but to at least be competitive against a Giants team who hasn't exactly set the world alight either, they were terrible. The work out of the middle was real bad for them. It was just they were getting absolutely nothing out of there and just getting smashed by the likes of the GWS mids, Tom Green and Josh Kelly, and they're just doing what they wanted.
Yeah, no, it was really disappointing, I think. And it's probably the first game this year they've gone into as favourites, you'd have to say. Goody, I don't know if you caught this game, but they just didn't handle it at all. I mean, their contested ball was well down on what we've seen the past couple of weeks. Weren't able to get it done in the forward line, hitting up big techs. Real disappointing performance all round.
Yeah, it was rubbish to say the least in that first half. They just weren't really in the contest at all, and they've shown so much promise through the first 6 rounds that it was kind of actually shocking to see them sort of just go back to old habits where they don't contest the ball in the middle, and they were smashing the midfield by Josh Kelly. I think he got 40 odd in the end, and yeah, he smashed them.
Steve, what do we make of this team now? Because we smashed them in the preseason. We were not a fan in our season preview video. They've certainly snuck up as one of the surprise team of this year, and they've got a challenging month ahead. Is this a team that you think can actually contend for a final spot?
No, I wouldn't put them in a team that can contend for final spot, but I don't think they're going to end as low as what we've put them. They've definitely batted well above average there. From what they've shown, they've got enough to be able to scrape a few wins, even if it is by like bare margins. They've got enough to do it. This is probably just one of those games where it was just a one-off, although hopefully it was a one-off. They just played crap. They'll just forget about it and move on. It just probably looks worse than it actually is because it was against the Giants, who in their own right haven't been being great, but wouldn't cry too much over it just yet because they've been not too bad.
Carlton, Brisbane, Saints and Geelong in there next month. It's going to be a tough 4 weeks for Adelaide fans.
Ooh.
So we'll check out and we'll see how that goes for them. Tazza, over to you for our hold fire. We're looking for a team that we don't want to jump the gun on.
Yeah, we're going to go back to the game of the week of this round, Sydney and Brisbane. For as good as Brisbane were, I don't think we need to be writing off Sydney at this point. I don't think many people are, but a lot of people are going to see this and think, oh, they've lost to a fellow contender. They're at home. They should have won. Look, Brisbane are right up there. We're basically saying that they're a top 2 team at this point of the time.
Yeah, for sure.
Sydney can be, even after this loss, can still be a top 4 team. They've beaten Geelong quite convincingly. They're still there. They're going to get pieces back. Obviously, Paddy McCartan hopefully comes back this week, who's been not super important, but he's been a little piece he's been contributing. It's definitely an area that they'd want to tidy up a little bit as that key defensive post. But there's some disappointing performances from guys like Hayden McLean in that game. He went goalless. Papley went goalless. So there's plenty of scope to improve. The forward line, apart from Buddy, didn't really get firing. Heaney kicked, I think, 3, but even 2 of them come from free kicks. At the end of the day, he kicked 1 in open play. So it wasn't a great performance, but I definitely don't think we should be panicking at this point about Sydney.
I think you hit the nail on the head with the forward line. That's probably my main reservation. I think they're a top 4 team. I think all 4 of us on the chat here would agree with that. But they need to sort out their forward line because, Steve, behind Buddy, Papley only just getting back into form. He is a goal threat, but we need to get him back into fitness. McDonald still developing, hasn't really shown he can get it done. I think they've got issues in the forward line, Steve.
When Papley gets back to fitness, he'll be dangerous for him. Obviously, Heaney's been consistent throughout all season so far. Buddy's Buddy, but he won't play every game because it's Buddy. Yeah, I think it's more so when Buddy isn't there, who steps up for him and kicks their goals because, well, the proof is in the pudding in this game. Buddy put on a clinic and bagged 6. So if he didn't play, it'd been a lot worse for him.